Yeah, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Matthew Maley from MatthewMaley.com. As you can tell by me sitting in my little corner on the couch, it is officially time for another weekly movie review, so it must be Friday night. So let's get right to it. Well, I thankfully had a good movie last week. Hopefully you guys were able to catch last week's episode when I reviewed The Debt, which finally was a good movie after a run of some pretty subpar and crappy films that I've been reviewing. So finally was able to get a good one, and after that I finally got a little happiness that I got to see a good movie. I took another chance and went after a comedy that got some pretty bad reviews when it came out. Really didn't get any good buzz, didn't really get any good push at all. So I had rather tempered expectations, if you will. But I will say I was pleasantly surprised. I don't think it was a great movie. I definitely think there were some things that could have been done better, all of which I'll get into. But it definitely wasn't as bad as I was expecting. And I'm speaking of The Change-Up, starring Ryan Reynolds, Jason Bateman, Leslie Mann, and Olivia Wilde. It is a very basic character swap movie. Very predictable in a lot of ways. And I think that's part of the reason why I went into it with such tempered expectations, because I've already seen it been done multiple times, and in my mind I was figuring I've already seen it done better, so what is this going to offer? Plus, it really got some bad reviews, and I know reviewers aren't everything, but for the most part, critics are paid money to criticize for a reason, so usually, you can kind of take it as somewhat of a measuring stick. I'm not saying it's going to match up perfectly, but at least you have an idea. So I still wanted to give it a chance because I'm a big fan of Ryan Reynolds. I'm a big fan of Jason Bateman. And I think Leslie Mann's pretty funny. So figured it was worth, an hour and a half, 2 hours of my time. And worst case scenario, I get to tear it apart for all my loyal viewers. But I will say it ended up being pretty decent. So the story is the polar opposite best friends who've been best friends their whole life. Jason Bateman is the very career-oriented, graduated from Yale, has the family with the 3 kids and, the nice house, and is a star lawyer who's been busting his ass to try and make senior partner, sometimes at the expense of his wife and family. But he's overall very successful. Then on the other end of the spectrum, you have Ryan Reynolds, who is the ultimate party boy. Pretty much what you just expect Ryan Reynolds' life would be in real life. But he is currently an actor, dropped out of high school, is kind of has a penchant for quitting, never following through with much, and just a total party animal. Wakes up at 2, gets drunk, smokes weed, and sits around doing nothing all day. So it's really both ends of the spectrum, which any, body switch comedy is going to be. That's what makes them good. So after, not spending a lot of time together recently because Jason Bateman's character has been so busy, he ends up going out for a night of drinking with Ryan Reynolds' character through a night of wishing that they had each other's lives for, Jason Bateman's perspective, so he can hook up with random chicks and not have all the responsibilities. Ryan Reynolds' perspective of it would almost be nice to have those responsibilities and have something with your life. They both decide to engage in some public urination and piss in a fountain. And of course, at the exact same moment, they both say, "I wish I had your life," which obviously that's all it takes to swap bodies. "I wish I had LeBron James' life. I wish I had Phil Ivey's life." Didn't work. Anyway, probably not LeBron. He's too hated. Anyway, I digress. So you then go into the element of the initial shock. Oh my God, what happened? To how do we fix it? To all the steps of a body switch comedy, just all the normal steps. And it's pretty paint by numbers there. there's definitely earns its R rating. There's some very gratuitous, non-stop nakedness, both topless, bottomless. There's some very gross bathroom humor. If you guys saw the Red Band trailer, you saw the scene where he's changing his kid's diaper and gets the doo-doo on the face. All I'm going to say about that scene is it gets even worse. Yeah. I'll just say I'm surprised Jason Bateman even did the scene, to be quite honest. So it means he's either a really cool dude or he'll do whatever you tell him to do. So I'm not going to give that away, but it's something. So it really does just follow the very basic spectrum of both of them start off, well, not both of them. Ryan Reynolds starts failing as, being Jason Bateman, screwing everything up because he doesn't have any responsibility, making things even worse with Jason Bateman's wife because he doesn't know how to not, he doesn't know how to actually be a responsible husband, father, whatever. Some of the scenes watching him try and change the baby's diapers because Jason Bateman has twins, and watching him try to change the baby's diapers or feed him or stuff like that's pretty funny. And Ryan Reynolds can play a good moron. He really can. I think he's a great actor across the board. I think he's a very, very good actor. And he can play that dumb moron, inept character so well. I thought he did it very well in Just Friends with some of his interactions with Anna Faris. He's a solid actor. And some of that, going back and forth, watching him playing with his sword, literally sword, don't take any other meaning to that. Some of the conversations with Jason Bateman regarding body hair trimming, and just other stuff is pretty funny. Of course, you then have to have the aspect to where they both learn certain things that were said about them because, they're talking with somebody who they made the comment to as the other person. So Ryan Reynolds finds out that Jason Bateman actually, was embarrassed of him and thinks he's a quitter. And then the other side, Jason Bateman finds out that Ryan Reynolds really thinks that he's a sissy and that he doesn't stand up for himself and whatever. Like I said, very paint by the numbers. Of course, towards the end, you have the reason why they both want to stay, the other person, which then turns into the reason that they both desperately want to change back. Which leads to a pretty funny scene with them changing back. So overall, I did like the movie. I will say it started off kind of for me. One thing I didn't like is there's this kind of common theme that's been going on lately with a lot of Judd Apatow films, such as 40-Year-Old Virgin, where they use all this extreme sex and dialogue and over-the-top, grotesque everything, but then they still put the morality into it to where Ryan Reynolds' character isn't going to have sex with Jason Bateman's wife, even though he's Jason Bateman, but in the same sense, he's also not going to have sex with anybody else because technically it's still Jason Bateman's body. So you got to get that morality out there real quick. And I get that. That's something that a lot of moviegoers need to see in order to root for the good guy. But in the same sense, it seems so counteractive to me and almost hypocritical in a way where we have this genre that is built on taking everything to the nth degree and making everything as bad as it can be. But no, you better not cheat. No. I'm fine showing kids dutying on a face. I'm fine showing drug use. I'm fine showing grotesque sex from Ryan Reynolds' perspective. But it better not be from the other perspective. So that's one thing that I thought was a little corny. But I will say towards the end of it, I got over it. It was all right. That was one thing I noticed in the beginning that I was a little like, really? Are we going to take that moral high road again in this movie? One thing I gotta say is that I really think this movie could have sucked. But I give 1,000% full credit to Ryan Reynolds and Jason Bateman for keeping it from sucking. I think if this movie would have been done by really any two other characters, I really think it could have been horrible. Even two characters I really like Paul Rudd and Jason Segel. If they would have been in this movie, I think it would have been a 1-star movie. If it would have been Jonah Hill and Seth Rogen, 1-star movie. You take any two comedy people, put Adam Sandler in this movie and Ben Stiller, I would have given it negative stars. So I really got to give them credit because I don't know what it is, like the script wasn't that well done. I'll say that. There were some funny lines, but it wasn't that well done. What really made the movie were both of their performances. Because Jason Bateman is the perfect, I don't want to say nerd character, but the perfect working, middle class, kind of nerdy guy who puts his work first, always puts himself last. He's a perfect character for that. While as Ryan Reynolds just has that it quality. He just has that quality to where you want to believe him, you want to watch him, you want to root for him. Even if he's a scoundrel. Wow, I just said scoundrel. But even if he is, you still want to root for him, you know? Even if he's a womanizing, drug-using bum, you still want him to be the womanizing, drug-using bum who wins, you know? Like, there's something about Ryan Reynolds in every one of his movies that you can't help but cheer for him. I mean, he's even when he's being smug or douchebaggy, there's just something about him that just comes across that is like, you just want to see him succeed. And that's what was so cool, is seeing them make that transition to now Jason Bateman being Ryan Reynolds through Jason Bateman's character, and vice versa, Ryan Reynolds being Jason Bateman through Ryan Reynolds' character. So it was really cool seeing that aspect of it because they both pulled it off very well. There are a couple of moments that, you know, maybe you're like, that's a little, you know, the continuity's a little off with the character there. But for the most part, I was very impressed with it based on that. And that was something that I thought they, even though it was just a kind of a fluff comedy, they knew that they could make it at least a little bit better just based on giving good performances, and I definitely think they did. As well as I think Leslie Mann did a great job, and I think Olivia Wilde. I wasn't really familiar with her. I've seen her in a couple small things, but I gotta say she did a great job. I was pretty impressed. I really thought she was just going to be another pretty face to be in there, but I actually thought she did a good job acting. Granted, her role didn't have a whole lot of depth, but I liked it. I thought that she did a good job, and I think she did a lot better job than a lot of other people that could have been put in that role, such as, while I love her and think she's a great actress, well, I think she's incredibly hot, I don't think Mila Kunis would have done well in there. And I do think Mila Kunis is a good actress, but I don't think she would have done well there. Same thing with Cameron Diaz. Would not have done well there. You know, there's a lot of those, you know, I don't want to say they're teen actresses, but the mid 20s to early 30s actresses that pretty much are interchangeable in a lot of ways, as sad as that is, because I think they could be better than that, but sadly, a lot of them do get kind of lost in the shuffle. So I really thought she did a good job, and I am absolutely caught in complete awe of her eyes. She has some of those beautiful eyes I've ever seen. I'd never really found her that attractive before. I mean, I thought she was pretty, but for most people, no. I usually find when it comes down to the women that I find the most beautiful are Latin women and Asian women. And she just really caught me off guard. I was very impressed. That's not to say that I don't find a lot of Caucasian women gorgeous. It's just not as often. So I was very caught off guard by her and was like, wow, she really was on point. Had a really nice body, had really gorgeous eyes, pretty hair, and I thought she did a good job. So there you go. Good job, Olivia Wilde. I'm impressed. So I know you can now live happy because some random guy on a poker video blog sitting on his couch was impressed. Hey, glad I could make your career. But anyway, overall, I liked it. One thing I liked is that it didn't get too preachy. There were a couple points, like towards the end before they want to swap back, got a little preachy, but there was never a point where you're just like, really? Come on, you know? And a lot of movies, when they get preachy, I feel that way automatically, you know? It's just like, really? This is what we're going to do? And so that's one thing I did think that was cool, is that they didn't, they really, the only preachiness was through a, well, I don't want to give it away, but through a slideshow presentation, really, through a presentation of Jason Bateman's character. That was really the only preachiness that it got, which then showed like how much they both really wanted to go back to who they were. And overall, it ended up being a fun movie. I don't think it'll be one that I buy. It might be one like if it's $5 in, you know, a Walmart bin a couple years from now, I might pick it up, because there were some very good back and forth runs of dialogue that were very funny. Like I said, the movie is such a paint by numbers movie for that type of a comedy. I can't really justify buying it just off of that. But the dialogue itself, I definitely would say would be worth watching again. So even if I don't buy it, if it's on FX one night, I'll definitely watch it again just to catch some of that back and forth dialogue. Ryan Reynolds has to be one of the most underappreciated comedic stars in Hollywood currently. He just has this ability to just, like I said before, come off very douchebaggy, but in a way that you still want to see him succeed. And Jason Bateman's been perfecting this character since Arrested Development. I mean, from Extract to Arrested Development to Horrible Bosses to pretty much everything else Jason Bateman's ever been in. Not that it's, yes, he's been typecast, but he's good at it. To this, he's just really good. And has that, kind of delivery like in Horrible Bosses when he's saying he street races in a Prius. He says, "You're street racing a Prius? I don't win much." Yeah. That type of a thing. Like that delivery is just it's really funny to me. And he's great in this movie with it. So overall, what do I rate it? Well, I'm going to go with a 3.5-star movie. Thankfully, we've broken free from our 2.5-star. Maybe we'll get back another 3.5-star. So in my opinion, it was an above average, almost good movie. I won't say, again, that it would be something I would buy automatically. If it comes out in a bargain bin, I'm sure I will. But maybe after I saw it again, it might become a 4-star movie. But from my initial perspective on it, I didn't like a lot of the stuff in the beginning. I kind of felt that it had to make up ground. It came from behind, if you will. It had to catch up in order to really get to where I definitely think it could have been a 4-star movie if it would have started off a little bit quicker and not been as slow from the beginning. So overall, 3.5-star movie. Definitely would say go check it out. It's worth an hour and 40 minutes of your time and $1 on Redbox. Definitely is. I definitely would say it's worth that. But definitely be fair warned, there's a lot of gross out comedy. There's a lot of very vulgar comments and statements from Ryan Reynolds' character. One of his greetings, essentially, to most people is F me. That's how he greets people. So there's rated R movies that kids can watch, and there's rated R movies kids can't watch. There's even rated R movies that kids maybe could watch. This is definitely one of those no chance kids should be watching that. There were things in that movie I'd never seen, and I'm a child of the internet. So, well, that's not true. I'd seen it, but never in like a real movie. That's kind of shows you how twisted and dark some of the stuff on the internet can be. So, I definitely would recommend do not allow your child to see this. It is extremely vulgar, disgusting, lots of, stuff more vulgar than how I speak. And I speak pretty vulgarly, I gotta say. Just over the top. Plus, lots of nudity. And some pretty disturbing imagery, I'll say that. Very disturbing imagery. Oh, Tatiana. If you see the movie, if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. I won't spoiler alert that for you, but oh, Tatiana. That's all I'm going to say. So overall, I would definitely say check it out, especially if you're a fan of Ryan Reynolds or Jason Bateman or Leslie Mann or Olivia Wilde. I would definitely say go check it out. If you're a fan of any of them, you'll definitely like it. Even if you're not, I still think it's worth watching just for the dialogue. It's very funny. But don't expect too much. This is a very basic film for the most part. So don't go in expecting it to be, hangover quality comedy or even Horrible Bosses quality comedy, in my opinion. It was still a good movie, but definitely not to that, level. So that's a pretty, special company to be into that level, and it's not. But definitely got to give a shout out to both Ryan Reynolds and Jason Bateman. Two, great actors. I would say they're in my top probably 10 to 15 favorite actors, period. So, great job. And overall, let me know what you guys think. It was definitely a lot better than I was expecting, and hopefully you guys will be surprised with it as well. So, once again, Matthew Maley for MatthewMaley.com, on the couch, weekly movie review. And this week we reviewed The Change Up. 3.5 stars, and I recommend it. So, let me know. Did you guys love it, hate it, love the review, hate the review? Overall, let me know what you think. As always, love hearing back from everybody. So drop me a comment if you're up on Facebook. If you're up on YouTube right now, maybe you can like my video as well and subscribe to the channel. If you're up on MatthewMaley.com, click over on the discussion tab and leave me a message there. It's always nice seeing who's checking in on the website. Of course, if you're up on Facebook, like my page, Matthew Maley Poker. You can leave me a comment on there. And as always, follow your boy on Twitter, @Matthew Maley. So, until the next video, hope everybody has a great weekend. And I might have another video by the end of this weekend. I'm thinking about going and checking out that new Mission Impossible in IMAX so I can see the little part of Dark Knight. I'm excited about that. So, until the next video, your boy signing off. Peace out, y'all.